Hello. Having recently attended some of the Tommy Robinson events over the recent years, I can say that I have seen with my own eyes what has been noticed in many media articles, such as those in The Spectator, and that is the increasing preponderance of Christian symbols and banners at these events. This ranges from people carrying wooden crosses and wearing crucifixes to people with huge banners reading "Jesus is King" or proclaiming "Keep Britain Christian." There are almost no other religious emblems, although there are other flags, such as the Israeli flag and some Persian flags, sometimes visible. Despite all this, I would guess, and have some corroboration, that most of the thousands of people and hundreds of thousands of people attending these events are not themselves regular churchgoers. The overwhelming majority are from the white working class, the segment of the population which is most reviled and most feared by the so-called cognoscenti, the metropolitan liberal elite, the BBC Guardianistas, who remain the backbone of the mainstream media, the universities, the government, the judiciary, and the clergy. I myself have not seen white working class people en masse in church in any denomination in the UK, and certainly not in the ranks of the clergy. I have seen plenty of first to third generation migrants and plenty of middle class people from all shades of the middle classes. And this sorry state of affairs applies to the Orthodox as well as to Catholics, Methodists and Evangelicals. I am talking about the real white working class, not the lower middle classes or the mockneys you get on the BBC. In my own experience of church-going, the small amount of white working class people I have actually met have been in Catholic or Evangelical churches, but I've never really encountered them in large numbers in any Anglican church. I remember meeting a white working class man in an Orthodox church I sometimes attend. In the meals after the service, he wanted to talk about immigration, speaking with dropped H's and trying not to swear and blaspheme the whole time. He talked about his days in England first and a lot about Muslim grooming gangs. I got the impression that this kind of talk was rather embarrassing to the other parishioners, although it was music to my own ears. I felt he was rather made unwelcome because of his talk was considered to be rather unchristian and was given the ubiquitous and rather banal advice not to mix religion and politics. I wonder what St. Constantine the Great or St. Alexander Peresviet, the monk who died in combat against the Tartars at Kulikovo Field, would think of such a reply. This constant retort not to mix politics and religion is, in fact, one of the many secularizations of the faith, which has happened as a result of modernity. This particular one ascribed to religion a purely private sphere of influence with no place in civic society. The white working class are hated and feared by the BBC Islamophiles. They are hated by the Corbynista leftists. They are hated by politicians, academics, and all the people who have destroyed this country since the war. But perhaps most of all, they are feared and secretly despised by the woke clergy of the established church. These people have shut the door firmly against the white working class, and there is no room for them at the inn. But now these people seem to be awakening to the faith of their fathers, often mixing patriotism and Christianity in a very raw and basic way. They know almost nothing of Christian doctrine, but they do know that they have been betrayed. If such people do make their way to their local Anglican church, they will be met by a keffiyeh-wearing lesbian vicar who wants to do a collection for the genocide of the exotic Arabs in Gaza, fully ignoring the mass grooming and rape of underage girls going on in their own towns, and never speaking about it for fear of offending the poor downtrodden Muslims. They will be told that true Christianity means rolling on your back and letting your country be overrun by people with whom you share absolutely nothing. It was not ever thus. Yes, the clergy were always middle class, but the parishioners used to contain the working classes and the peasantry. But who would want to go to a church which doesn't speak to your concerns and in fact tells you to shut up in the name of diversity? Of all the many, many crimes of the liberal elite, this surely must be high up on the list. One wonders in what circle of hell Dante would have placed these people. Perhaps in the 9th circle, with the traitors to country buried deep in ice. One thing is for sure, though, it has been going on for a very long time. And here I will quote a short passage from none other than George Orwell from 1941. True, he is not speaking specifically about the clergy, but what he says eventually became true of the whole of the establishment, from the smug and sycophantic magazine Private Eye to the Archbishop of Canterbury. In intention, at any rate, the English intelligentsia are Europeanized. They take their cookery from Paris and their opinions from Moscow. England is perhaps the only great country whose intellectuals are ashamed of their own nationality. It is a strange fact that almost any English intellectual would feel more ashamed of standing to attention during God Save the King than from stealing from the poor box. The abyss which separates these people from the white working class is revealed in the repugnant attempts to speak to them by converting venerable old cathedrals into rave venues or spraying them with graffiti. Because, of course, this is the only language that they understand. Now, I've already talked about this a lot in a couple of other talks, so I won't go on about it again here. Instead, I will end with these very appropriate verses from G.K. Chesterton's poem, The Secret People. They have given us into the hand of new unhappy lords, lords without anger or honour, who dare not carry their swords. They fight by shuffling papers, they have bright dead alien eyes. They look at our labour and laughter, as a tired man looks at flies. And their load of their loveless pity is worse than the ancient wrongs. Their doors are shut in the evening, and they know no songs. We hear men speaking for us, of new laws strong and sweet, yet there is no man that speaketh as we speak in the street. It may be we shall rise the last, as Frenchmen rose the first, our wrath come after Russia's wrath, and our wrath be the worst. It may be we are meant to mark our riot and our rest, God's scorn for all men governing, it may be beer is best. But we are the people of England, and we have not spoken yet. Smile at us, pay us, pass us, but do not quite forget.